Alright, beautiful folks, what is up and how are you doing? This is your favorite struggling R&B producer, Valentine the Plug, and at this point I'm assuming that you know what we're about to do. I got a cool R&B sample laying down in FL Studio which I am itching to break down for y'all. I don't want to do too much talking, I don't really feel like doing too much explaining, I just want to take y'all along with my creative process. So sit back and enjoy the preview, and after that we're starting off by breaking down the guitar.
The Plug's got you covered.
Okay, so we're just gonna be breaking down the guitar pattern short and sweet. So the first chord that I'm playing is a C sharp minor 7 chord. Second chord that I'm playing is an F sharp minor 7 chord. Third chord that I'm playing is an E major 7 chord. And the last chord that I'm playing is a G sharp minor 7 chord. So it goes from this. That's basically the chord progression. Now what you're going to be hearing is that I also spiced up a couple of chords, so I played a little hammer on the C minor 7 chord, C sharp minor 7 chord. Kind of like that. Goes into the F sharp minor 7 chord again. Do a little bit of strumming. Then I go to this E major 7 chord. Again a hammer on. And again a little bit of strumming. So it's mostly strumming and just little sweet hammer-ons. I also do a little thing where I alternate between the phrases. So I have like a regular chord progression that goes from this. But then, just to get it to resolve just a little bit sweeter, I sometimes add a passing chord. So it goes from this. So instead of going from E major 7 to just the G sharp minor 7, I go from the E major 7 to the F sharp minor 7 lower down the fretboard, played with the root on the E string, and then I resolve to a G7 sus4 chord. Makes it just a little bit sweeter. So we're back in FL Studio, and what you can see is that I have 3 muted patterns, which are the patterns that are going to be used for the sample, and the original 3 patterns. And I just want to use these 3 patterns just to break down. So I'm going to be taking out the piano pattern, of course. In terms of my sound selection, what I'm using is the grandeur, actually, as opposed to gentleman. I'm using 2 Omnisphere patches. One is the In Memoriam, which you'll find in the vinyl/lo-fi bank in the type tab. And I'm also using something as a pad, I think, which is the Mellow Organ Rhodes, which I filter to the point where it becomes a real mellow pad. But let's look at the chords just real quick. You're gonna see some differences because on the guitar I actually demonstrated that I was playing 7 chords, but here in the piano roll you can actually see that I'm playing 9 chords, just to add a little bit more flavor because it is a different layer that allows me to experiment. So again, C sharp minor 9 that goes into an F sharp minor 9. Now this chord is different. This is actually just a regular schmegular G sharp minor 7. However, the 3rd chord on the guitar is an E major 7. So I decided to do something different. It did work out because it is in the key, of course. And here you can see that instead of landing on a G sharp minor 7, I am automatically using the G7 sus4 chord. I did feel that because it's a different layer, I could add some additions because I simply have the freedom to experiment. So it does kind of set it apart. It's not just constantly playing the same stuff. but there's a layer that's kind of just setting itself apart by playing different chords which are still in the key. They are adding a different flavor. Now one thing that you'll notice is that this little particular A is actually not in the key, and that is because the 7th degree in the scale of G sharp in G sharp minor is actually supposed to be a dominant chord. Actually, you can see it's actually supposed to be an F sharp dominant chord. However, I took the minor third and I took the major third and I lowered it to become a minor third, which gives me this nice F sharp minor 9th chord. So that's kind of why. And here at the end you can actually see that instead of going from the F sharp minor 7th to the G sharp G7 sus4 on the guitar, I'm actually playing a G7 sus4 and I'm landing on a G dominant 7th chord. So once again, a lot of differences, which does give it a lot of, you know, unique flavor. So I'm gonna just demo the original chord progression and then I'm gonna demo what the sample sounds like. And the way it sounds right now, it's super dreamy. I like it. It's vibey. It really gives me you know, kind of Jhené Aiko vibes, you know, really vibey, in tune with yourself, maybe a little bit new age spiritual, because that's definitely her aesthetic. But I wanted something more smooth. I wanted to go from a Jhené Aiko vibe to, I guess, more of a Summer Walker kind of vibe with a lot of smooth guitar and hammer-ons. So that's when I added the electric guitar. But when I started making the sample, you know, consolidating all the tracks, I started pitching it down and adding some more effects onto it. So after adding some vocal chops, which came from Arcade, I'm using this little kit right here, the Glimmer of Hope kit. I think it's a relatively new kit. I have my key set to E sharp major because that's the key that I'm working in after pitching everything down. E flat major, by the way. So this is what the sample sounds like right now. So it still has some of that dreaminess, but it has a layer of smoothness that I really like about the sample. So I'm just going to be removing these and we are going to start building. One thing that I do still like to do, even though that I've consolidated the key patterns, is still add them to the sample, but, you know, just turn down the volume so they're there as, you know, like supplemental layers that don't really do a lot. I do like this pad though, because y'all know I'm very big on pads. So I'm just playing a lot with the stereo separation, give it a bit more wider feel, because I do want it to have a place in the mix. And I'm actually thinking I'm gonna be doing the same for the piano as well, and maybe just add a little bit of Cymatics Origin just to give it a bit more decay, lo-fi effect. Let's see what that sounds like. Now this we can work with. I kind of went out of my way and I tuned my 808 to C. I generally don't do that because my hearing is fine, so I know which notes actually are in my key. But I went ahead and did it so you can see what I'm doing, and just to demonstrate how you can get away by making 808 bass lines by just following the root notes, since they just suffice, you know. So I got this G, I got a C, I got an A, which is the third actually in the chord that I'm using. I got a D, which is again the root note of the D7 sus4 chord, and again. So it's kind of easy. So if when you're in pinch, just remember, follow the root notes for your bass line. You'll be entirely fine. So this is what it sounds like now with the 808. moving on. So you can see that I already got a hi-hat pattern ready here. My current drum ensemble is basically consisting of this hi-hat, this kick, and this snare. Trying to get a real slow and deliberate vibe going on. So I'm gonna just paste this hi-hat onto the piano, onto the playlist. Might just add a couple of rolls here and there later. I'm gonna put my snare right here. And I am going to put a kick right here. And this should give me a very, very basic framework. Let's see. And I really like it. This slow and deliberate thing, you know, basic drum beats, spaced out drums, it really works. It really has a place so that all the focus immediately goes to, say, the guitar and everything that's happening with the vocal sample. So I kind of like it. So really, in terms of that, all I really want to add is a little bit of modest hi-hat rolls here and there. And then I'm close to calling it a day, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. So the last two things that I'm actually going to be looking for is a snap, because I want to switch out my snare with a snap. This one works. Perfect. So I'm just going to be duplicating my snare pattern, because I feel that introducing a snap pattern introduces like some kind of element of gentleness, because that snare is pretty hard hitting. So a snap, you know, being a little bit more gentle, I think it would actually offset it just a little bit. And I think it's amazing to switch out the snare, say when I'm actually getting to the hook. So we got the snare on deck. Then I'm actually going to a kit that I got off of Splice recently. Where is it? Because this one has some interesting drum loops that I really want to add underneath just to get a little bit more of a groove. So I'm going for this one, double click, stretch, set it that it fits. Let's just lower the volume and see if it's even working. Okay, so it works nicely. I already sent it to a separate mixer channel. I'm gonna add a little bit of chorus just to really crystallize that. I'm doing everything roughly. I'm not dialing it back too much or having it be present too much. Then let it all fade into my EQ. Radical cuts on the lows, radical cuts on the highs. See what it sounds like. Alright, beautiful folks, as I said in the beginning of this video, I just wanted to take y'all through my creative process, and I think I've done just that. I think this is a great, short and sweet beat. I think the sample already spoke a lot for itself, so there wasn't a lot that I felt that I need to add, but still I hope that this was at least entertaining to y'all or educational. So I'm definitely going with what I said. I definitely feel that this is a Summer Walker type beat, so I'm doubling down on that. This is a Summer Walker type beat. I want to just say thank y'all for tuning into the vid, of course, for tolerating me and my antics. I hope to see y'all in the next video. Y'all be easy. Peace.